I really was hoping that by the time I was on this holiday, or by the time before I get home, I'll be able to post a really positive video, so a bit of exciting news, and we had a bid accepted for a player, or we're in advanced talks with someone, something like that. Something we can all get a little bit excited about and lift the mood a little bit. It just doesn't seem to be happening, does it, the transfer window at the moment? That's not to say it won't, but yeah, it just feels like it's another day of being a West Ham fan, isn't it? Where it's just another bit of bad news, and it's come today in the form of Habib Diarra, who's now agreed a deal to go to Sunderland. I don't know the exact stage of it now, but I believe medical stage now. So basically, it's a done deal. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that. I've seen quite a lot about this in terms of what's online and on social media and stuff. And I know there's quite a lot of anger about it, and sort of people saying, "Well, this is another target that's gone," and etc. And it's a terrible reflection on West Ham and this transfer window. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I didn't realise that we were that keen really on the player. I know that we were linked. For me, he's always been one of those players of interest, and let's be honest, there's quite a few you could say that's about linked with West Ham. Do you know what I mean? He's just a player that's been linked with West Ham. Look, it may well be the case that it was more than that, but from what I've been told from X and stuff like that, and you'll know from my videos, I've never put up a video suggesting that Diarra was a top target and we're going for him. No, that isn't the case, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm certainly not, spitting my, throwing my toys out the pram over the fact that we've not signed him, because, as I say, I don't think he was necessarily a top target for the club, and I'm sure that I actually believe that possibly is the case. But I think the whole situation is, it's a poor reflection on us, because not because of the player, but because of the fact that a team like Sunderland have come up. It's Sunderland, who have been in lower leagues for quite a period now, been out of the Premier League for a little while, whatever the case may be, and they've gone and got one of their top targets done. Bang, £30 million, got a deal done and got it sorted. And yet again, where West Ham are still sitting still, because we're still sitting behind this whole, we can't sign anyone before, we've got to sell players before we can buy. This pathetic excuse that we continually had we've had from the club the whole time. I've talked about it previously, that I'm tired of hearing about it. It's nothing new, but it's things like this that just keep reaffirming that frustration, doesn't it? And I feel like that's really what the problem is with the signing. I don't think it's necessarily that West Ham fans are fuming over missing out on a certain player, because let's be honest, we don't really know much about him anyway. It's not as if, as I said, it's not as if a player we were going, we're definitely going to go and get him. He's the top player. This is the one we want to get. I don't think it's ever really been the case with him. But as I say, I think when it's the bigger picture, isn't it? It's the fact that we are sitting still, we're not doing anything, because we are paralysed by our ownership. We're paralysed by the fact that our owners are standing by this ridiculous message of we need to sell players before we can buy because of PSR. Well, it's not fucking due to PSR. It's to do with the fact of cash flow. Nothing to do with PSR at all. So yeah, that's my feeling on that. Now, in terms of what West Ham have said, and I talked about this a little bit in a previous video, but I also want to talk a little bit more about it. Now, it seems that what's coming to light is that West Ham's owners are prepared to inject £90 million into the football club to get our transfer window up and running. But what they've done is this is the message that's coming out, is that at the moment, in sort of doing its rounds, is that they are tying dates to certain players to sell them by a certain date, and if they don't sell them by that certain point, then they're going to inject money into the football club. And like I said previously, I don't understand why that's the case. I don't get why that we are stuck and we can't just get on with it and do it now. Now, however, there may be a slight reason behind that, and this may well be the slightly leading towards reason for slight optimism. I think I can't really tie optimism and West Ham in the same sentence at the moment. I'm struggling to do that, but let's just say there's a little bit of light. Okay, let's call it that. In that, on the 1st of July, which is next week, we then turn into the next period of financial period of the year, so basically for PSR rules, things like that, and I believe that the understanding is that maybe that could be the trigger, that could be the moment West Ham then go, right, now we can put money into the club, we're going to go to a new chapter of this, and then we can then start moving forward in terms of this transfer window. How exactly true that is, I don't know, but it could well be the case that that's what we're waiting for, and also it's been indicated as well by X that we are sort of coming to the conclusion of this Lucas Paqueta situation, which could also be next week, and that could also be a turning point for us as well. So look, I'm not saying that everything's going to start kicking off from the 1st of July onwards, but I believe that that's when we might start seeing things. Look, the club have continue to keep maintaining behind the scenes that they're very confident of this transfer window. That they basically said to the fans and to channels or whatever, be patient and judge it at the end of the transfer window. And as I said previously, look, okay, put your money where your mouth is then, go and deliver. But seeing Sunderland go and get their business done like they have done, £30 million, on a midfielder, especially a midfielder, when we are desperate for midfield rebuild, it's incredibly frustrating. And it's, as I say, it's just frustrating. It makes our ownership looks so bad. It really does. I'm so tired of the continual paralysis that is forced upon us by our ownership, by David Sullivan and these rules that he puts in place. We've had it when it comes to hiring managers. We've had it he must be out of work. Why? Why does a manager have to be out of work for you to hire them? Because it saves you a few quid. But you're happy to go and spend £25 million on a 31-year-old striker from abroad that's unproven in the Premier League. Nothing ever seems to tally what we do. And it's frustrating. It really is. So as I say, I'm much like yourselves. As the days keep ticking on, I'm getting more and more frustrated. And you say, when you see then other teams go and do business, it just gets under your skin, doesn't it? Because you think, well, what are we doing? Why are we so tired? And we know one of the reasons that we're tired is because of our ownership. That is it. A club that just seems to be continually imposing these ridiculous rules upon itself. Which then hinder us to move forward. It's very annoying. But I will emphasise the point, though. When it comes to the player itself, Diarra, I'm not angry over him. I'm going to be honest. I'm not sitting there going, "Oh my God, that's a key player gone. What are we doing?" I don't feel that with him because I don't think that really was the case. It's the fact that we've got players that we can go and get. Lucas Stassin. An update on him, that I know there was reports suggesting that we were in advanced talks. I think there was some ITK online. You get a lot of this in the summer with sort of accounts that will then sort of claim to be ITKs, and what they do is they basically take a punt on some news, I think. And I'm not saying none of it's true. We are interested in the player, but I think what they do is they take a bit of a punt, hope it comes off, and that gives them credibility, and say, "Look, I told you it did." I think you get a lot of that, and I think that what's happened is this Stassin rumours was one of those where it's come out from an account and said, "Yeah, West Ham were in advanced talks and the players set to fly to London," and all that kind of stuff. That just isn't the case. But West Ham do hold an interest. But like you, I'm tired of hearing this, that we hold an interest, we're looking at this player, I don't want to keep looking at players, just go and get the deals done, But look, I am hoping that once we get into July, as I say, once we get into that new financial period, that we might see a change there. And this could well be the trigger where West Ham ownership then do inject some money into the football club, and then we kick on and push forward. But I'm not holding my breath, I'm going to be honest, because it feels like whatever West Ham seem to do when it comes to their decision-making, business decision-making, especially when it comes to this, operating the football club and things like that, I find it incredibly frustrating. And I just don't have any trust there with them. I struggle to trust them to do the right thing. So, but look, we'll wait and see. I'm really sorry that it's not a positive video. I want to be saying some more positive stuff. I'm tired of coming on here and bloody moaning, to be honest with you. But it's what it is. Look, I hope you well. Have a good rest of the weekend. Well, I'll hopefully have a video out tomorrow. I'll do another one tomorrow, hopefully, and it'll be something a bit more to sink our teeth into, a bit more enjoyment rather than moaning. But take care, have a good one, and come on, new ones.